Tell me more about the business model of D1. How many locations do you guys currently have? Why is this a good segment to invest in? What type of support do you provide to your franchisees? If I'm a franchise owner, what does a typical day look like for me? What's the total investment range? How did you actually think about, hey, I could actually turn this into a franchise? What type of insights or encouragement or guidance you inspire them of how to franchise their business and if they should franchise or not? All right, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hi, I'm Will Bartholomew, founder and CEO of D1 Training.
Great. Tell me more about the business model of D1.
You know, we're a franchise business. We franchise gyms where we train youth athletes. So our whole focus is kind of like middle school, high school athletes. If you need a coach, you come in and train with us either one-on-one or in a group setting.
Amazing. And how did you start this?
I was a former D1 athlete back in the day, back when I was younger. And man, I really wanted to replicate that D1 environment. I wanted to take a great coach like I had at the University of Tennessee who could pour into an athlete's life and help them, learn not just the basics of the weight room, but learn how to get bigger, faster, stronger, and reach their goals. And so I started it 20-something years ago, and here we are today, all around the country training athletes and helping athletes reach their goals.
I love that. And how many locations do you guys currently have?
We have 165 locations open, yeah.
Okay, and tell me more about the industry. Why is this a good segment to invest in?
I think it's interesting, the market conditions. When I first started training youth athletes, people were like, what? I'm not signing up my kid with somebody. And, I think more and more in this day and age, to become great at something, we've learned, hey, we need mentors, we need coaches in our lives. And so when you start thinking about your kids, you got kids, they're like the most precious asset, something you want to invest in to give a chance to be better than even you were. And so we're just at that interesting intersection where a lot of people are wanting that expert advice. And we have a trusted brand. Man, we really pour a lot into our coaches about character and about value system, not just getting bigger, faster, stronger. We want the kids to develop character like perseverance and discipline and respect and all those great things we want our kids to have. And so, man, it's really served us really well. And so we're seeing a ton of athletes come in and want to train.
I love that. And it's well said, because especially at a young age, if you could teach these young athletes to have that D1 mentality, even in high school and middle school and even elementary school, right? And you're going to build such a foundation of work ethic that's going to carry them for the rest of their life of no matter what they end up doing, right?
It's way more than just training.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we all love, that feeling, those endorphins when you're in the workout room and you're in the weight room and you're feeling great. But that the benefits, the long-term benefits of mental clarity, of discipline, of just, being able to push through and persevere. That's ultimately what we're teaching. It's not about the 5-star kid who's getting the big NIL money. Don't get me wrong, we train a lot of those.
Yeah.
But, it's about that kid that's coming in there and learning that discipline and respect, learn how to push his body through times when it's tough. And that's what it's all about. And that's what we're here to do, serve these communities and serve them well.
Amazing. And what type of support do you provide to your franchisees?
Yeah, we pride ourselves in our support, and I'm constantly learning to get better, but man, we really want to be world-class in that. We want to be world-class in support, so much so that we talk to our franchisees every week when they're opening every day. And then what we call training camp, which is the first 90 days that you're opening, we're talking to you every day. And then once you get into the regular course of the business, we're talking to you every month. And so for us, we really want to make sure that we're focused on the KPIs and the data. And then also, we're here to serve. And that's what I tell my teams this, we really want that mentality first. So when our franchisees call us, it's like, hey, how can we serve you? It might be a marketing initiative. It might be, hey, I need to understand my KPIs. It might be a staffing initiative. And so we really just want to make sure we're serving our franchisees really well.
Love that. If I'm a franchise owner, what does a typical day look like for me?
Yeah, it depends where you are in the journey. When you're first opening up, there's decisions that are being made that you need to make as a business owner. But then once the business really gets rolling and you got a great general manager and a great coaching staff, you can really just be a community builder. And what we really encourage our franchisees to do is really get in your community. That's why we love franchising, is because these owners, man, they know the community, they know the high schools, they know the club sports, they know the kids' names. And we want them to get out and get back to their community, because I have found this in the business, for a long time, if you give to your community, the community will give back to you. 100%. And man, we really want to be that good for you business that's investing back in the community.
Love that. And what's the total investment range?
Yeah, we range anywhere from $300,000 to $600,000 on the front end. It depends on tenant improvement allowance and all that. And then for us, our big thing is we really want you to get to our our average AUVs, which is in the 600,000s, and dropping money to the bottom line. But more than the numbers, we really want you to focus on what I was just talking about, which is that return on impact. Return on impact more than just the investment, and how you can impact your community and really change lives.
Love that. Now, just to kind of, pivot a little bit here on the conversation, walk me back when you first started the business, and then now you're running the business. How did you actually think about, hey, I could actually turn this into a franchise?
Yeah, I did corporate-owned locations for 16 years. So I love the gym business. I love the health and wellness space. I love what it does for people. I love what it's done for my life and my family's life. And so for me, when I jumped into franchising, it was a whole new ball game. It was like, what is this franchising world that we're living in? Yeah. And I just found it so welcoming. I found it when I would go to a person like you and they would be like, hey, let me share my experiences. Let me share what's helped me. Let me give you a little tactical tool. Talk to this person, do this. And that just, that meant the world. I don't think I could have done it without everybody being so welcoming. And so franchising is just a really special industry. If you're out there and you're ever considering franchising, you got to jump in.
100%. So for anyone out there, let's say they're owning a business, right? What type of insights or encouragement or guidance you would inspire them of how to franchise their business and if they should franchise or not?
Franchising is interesting. When you have a great location or you have a business and it's doing well, the number one thing is to really document your processes and really understand what is moving the needle. So that way you can coach someone else, right? And franchising at the end of the day is coaching. You're coaching other business owners to take that journey that you did. And so, for me, when I got into it and you started seeing all the different things that are happening in the industry, it was really one of those things I got really excited about because it's like, I have 18 years of learnings. Yeah. I'm able to share this with a new business owner that maybe is just now cutting their teeth and jumping in. And so I think franchising is beautiful because if you're a potential franchisee out there, the cheat code in life is having someone who's done it well and done it before is doing business with them, Yeah. And so that's what franchising is. You're really given that playbook and the secret to success. And so it's been a great journey.
I love that. And I know you played football, you're an athlete, played with Peyton Manning, you mentioned as well, right? What was that experience like, by the way?
Oh, man. College days, I don't know if I can remember. I was fortunate enough to play at the University of Tennessee, win a national championship, play with Peyton Manning. Those lessons that I learned about discipline and character and work ethic, and obviously falling in love with the weight room has changed my life forever. I learned networking, I learned how to be a great teammate, how to be coachable, and then also how to lead. And so, I've learned so many lessons from my football days and, watching greats and playing with greats like Peyton. Peyton was one of those guys who just, he held you to a high standard. Mm-hmm. If you're in the huddle with him, you better catch the ball, you better make the block. He held you to a high standard, and I look back on that and I go, man, what a great lesson. That's what I want to be. I want to hold people to a high standard, and I know that they can do it. And so it's been fun being able to take some of those lessons learned and implement them in the business.
100%, and you can see that in your culture, agreeing the standards and the type of athletes you guys have produced, and from all levels, from beginner to people who are going to college and everything in between, right? And I've seen the type of athletes, professional athletes, even come to your centers to train. Yeah. Right? And you guys attract serious athletes to come as well. Some of the best are coming there to work out. Yeah. So you created such a great environment, an ecosystem, and most importantly, I can see the mindset, the philosophy, the tenacity that you were as an athlete now putting into the franchise business, and you've done great. So congratulations on everything you've done, Will. Appreciate you, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
Definitely. There are over 4,000 different franchise opportunities out there. To reduce your risk when picking a franchise, we provide you key insights and a great process to match you with the perfect opportunity. To learn more, click the link in our bio to schedule a free consultation today.